I got it.
Also, the roll call is missing from the agenda.
We'll call it.
Next, not on the agenda.
Oh.
Chair Grossman,
Yes.
I left the roll call off the agenda. I'm just gonna guess who's here tonight. That was a joke. That silence, that one fell flat.
Everybody's a comedian these days.
Yeah, but some are obviously better than others.
Okay, I know Steve Kramer will not be with us tonight, neither will Linda Miller.
John Frederick as well.
So as soon as the clock strikes 5:30, we can get underway.
$5:30.
There you go. Thank you, Tim. We'll call this meeting of the Columbia Gateway Urban Renewal Agency Board to order. Roll call, Paula.
Diana Bailey,
Present.
Scott Baker. I see ya. Stacy Coburn.
Present.
John Frederick is absent. Gary Grossman.
Present.
Steve Kramer is absent. Darcy Long Curtis.
Present.
Linda Miller is absent. And Tim McLaughlin.
Roger Dodger.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is approval of the agenda, which has been mailed to you. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I move approval of the minutes or the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Stacy. A second?
I'll
Scott,
second.
All those in favor, thumbs up.
Well,
Thank
here we go.
you.
Well, Tim's got his thumb up. I know he does.
Yeah, I got my thumb up my nose. Here you go. There you go. Now you got one.
There you go.
Thank
All
you.
right, motion carries. The minutes were sent to you as well. I'd entertain any additions or corrections to the minutes. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, also recommend that we accept them as submitted.
Been moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second. This is Stacy.
Stacy seconds. All those in favor, thumbs up. Yeah, enough of us to,
Get it. There you go.
there we go.
Thank you.
Do all that. There we go. Okay, the minutes are approved. Next, we have time for public comment. Do we have anybody from the public that wishes to make comment on things that are not on the agenda? Joshua.
He doesn't mean to do that.
He just deep sixed himself. There you go. Okay, we have no public comment. Moving
Mayor,
on.
Procedure question.
Yes,
I don't know exactly who's all the numbers are. We do have a quorum, correct?
yes, we do.
We have 3 miss. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it
Thank you.
takes five for quorum, so we've got,
Okay. I just knew.
we got a spare.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda, we do have an action item, which is the consideration of urban renewal funding support for the Oregon Community Pass Program grant for the Mill Creek Greenway project. I've turned that over to Alice and Scott.
Chair Grossman and members of the board, I keep wanting to call you a commission, but this is making me uncomfortable. I'm going to do this. Anyway, last meeting, at your last September 15th meeting, Vice Chair Baker raised a discussion item about the potential of our program participating in the new grant program called Oregon Community Paths. And at that time, Vice Chair Baker committed to working on a letter of intent for the program that's due at the end of the month. And at that time, there is also a discussion about whether urban renewal program could commit up to $300,000 to cover the cash match requirement for the grant program. And so what we committed to do is to come back at this meeting and bring it back to you for a formal action item. So that's what we're here to do tonight. And I also wanted to let you know at the meeting, Chair Grossman raised the issue of staff capacity and whether the urban renewal or city staff could take this project on. And at that time, I felt I had talked to City Manager Julie Kruger and had received an informal kind of lack of feeling like there was a lack of capacity. She has since made a decision that this is not something we can take on as a work project this year. But however, that should not prevent us from providing financial support to this grant program should Vice Chair Baker decide to move forward with it. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Chair, or Vice Chair Baker.
Okay, well, I would think that, and Scott can speak to this, that were we to get, there's the letter of intent, there's application, and there's getting the grant itself. And I would think that this year, the furthest it would go would be the application part as far as the city is concerned. So one, I think that's maybe a decision a bit for the future. And there may be some other alternatives that we'll have to determine for leadership. But I can't see us passing the opportunity, but I'll turn it over to you, Scott.
Well, thank you, Chair Grossman. I will fill in the rest of the board that since our last meeting, the Park District's board has committed $10,000 of Park District SDCs towards the match for this project, just to show the broad community support that this project has. At the time of our September meeting, it wasn't clear that the city would not be the applicant. So I will bring it to our Park District board tomorrow night to have them formally approve for the Park District to move forward as the applicant. And I think Chair Grossman said it perfectly. We need an applicant. We need to apply. If we didn't get the money, there's nothing else to do. If we get the money, we'll have 10 years to figure it out of how we get this project built. And in fact, for small agencies, I spoke with the grant coordinator today. ODOT may be able to actually build the project. And so, you know, that's a possibility as well that I didn't even know was on the table until today. So I think that we're going to, you know, I think the important thing is to submit a good application with lots of letters of support from various agencies, from Main Street to the port to the city. Let's get the money, and then we can work out the details at that time.
Good.
Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Yeah, questions for Scott? Yes, Bruce.
Thank you, Chair Grossman. Scott, I was just wondering if the Parks Board tomorrow night formally approves Parks as the applicant for this grant. And but the first piece then out of the chute after that is the letter of intent. Are we going to need to have a commitment from urban renewal on that match more than just a informal agreement that that's something that could be supported for that letter of intent? Okay.
Yes, and that's why it's here for formal action tonight, Bruce. And so, you know, if I've seen a lot of head nodding, if we can get this this piece done, then there's a field on the form that talks about match. I'll be able to fill in that the match is secure, and it will make our letter of intent stronger, and then hopefully we'll be forwarded on for the full application. The full application is not available yet. They expect to have it out late next week or early the following week.
Yeah, we know we have the money, Bruce, and so we would vote to commit that tonight. So
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chair Gross.
you bet. Are there any other questions, comments? I would certainly entertain a motion to support to commit the funds and support the letter of intent. And
Make a
move forward
motion.
with the grant application.
And this is Long Curtis. I'll move to authorize the Urban Renewal Program to financially support the Oregon Community Paths Program Mill Creek Greenway project up to $300,000.
This is Counselor McLaughlin, and I second that.
Perfect. I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, give it a thumbs up. All right, motion carries. Unanimous.
Just for the record, I'm just going to recuse myself. My vote's not needed here, and I just think that it's more appropriate for me to recuse.
But it is it to keep the quorum?
I believe we had one extra, so we needed 5, we have 6.
If he abstains,
Oh, I'm
he
sorry.
still
I keep
counts
missing.
towards.
Yeah, I keep missing Tim's vote. Sorry, my apologies.
And Darcy is right. Even an abstain still counts as a vote. So.
Well, excellent. I think that's wonderful. And Scott, keep us posted on how that's all proceeding. Next up, we have no more action items. We have an information item, which is an update on the maintenance for the Tony's building. And for that, I'll look to Alice to discussion.
Chair Grossman, members of the board, I want to introduce Josh Chandler. He's one of our planners on staff who's been helping me a lot with this, checking into the building and its maintenance needs. As part of recent conversations with our the Gorge TD Fitness Hub as part of the Tony's building, I did have a chance to talk to Brian Cassidy, who knows this building inside and out after evaluating it. And also, based on his advice, had some of our city's facility staff, as well as Josh, visit the property. And we've identified 2 areas that need to be maintained, I guess, prior to the weather turning too much colder now. That would be the roof needs some repair, as well as the electrical system. And I'll let Josh just briefly describe that work. And we think we can hop on this. I think it will be within my funding authority. I won't need to bring anything forward to you. But I did want, you asked the question last meeting. I wanted you to know we were hopping on it, and I'll let Josh briefly describe what it is we're doing. This is just a real minor item from my perspective. So.
Thank you, Alice. Joshua Chandler, Community Development Department, agency members. As Alice mentioned, I head down to the Tony's building probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Walked through the building with our maintenance staff, with Mr. Cassidy, and kind of take a look at, assess what exactly is going on out there, as far as the what is required for essentially a Band-Aid type of maintenance procedure at this time. I know that there is, the agency is still having negotiations with Mr. Cassidy on the final deal. So we, as Alice mentioned, narrowed it down to the roof needing a repair, as well as the electric system. The roof, I spoke to an individual from Brown Roofing. He's quite familiar with the building. He said in the time that he's been with Brown Roofing, I think it's about 20 years, the Tony's building has been a constant stop for them as far as going and patching it. Clearly, we saw in the information provided to us by Mr. Cassidy, it needs an the roof needs to be completely replaced to truly fix it and to truly assess the leaks. However, there is a process that they do every few years, and it's not to exceed $3,500, and it would be just another repair on the top. It's essentially, to be honest, it's like a Band-Aid over a Band-Aid. I don't know if anybody's familiar with leaks in a roof. You know, just fixing it a little bit at a time may stop it for the season, but ultimately the roof would need to be entirely replaced. And there was, I think the figures that were provided to us was a substantial amount of money. The other aspect was heating the building, you know, just a little bit above freezing for the winter time. So we're not going to get the continued cracking in the sheetrock and just deterioration on the inside of the building. We have maintenance staff brought 50 amp heaters down there for a meeting we did last year. Ended up not using them due to the fact that they have 220 plugs on the end of them, and the building itself does not have 220 outlets. So the option, I'm dealing with Doug Jenkins Electric. He also provided quotes for Mr. Cassidy. And the project there would be installing 220 plugs and getting those heaters spread out through the building, 3 heaters. I met with him on Friday, and I've yet to receive a formal quote at this time. But there's also the main grounding in the building would need to be, the building is actually, the electric system is not actually grounded. So we would need to get into the basement and actually ground the building before any of this can happen. So I will report back to Alice as soon as I get a cost estimate on that. And I can answer any questions if anybody has any.
So Chair, our plan is to just move forward, but I wanted to just give a report because you were all very curious last month. So we'll move forward with this. I don't intend to come back unless we find something interesting, maybe inside the walls or something like that. So, but thanks for asking. And it certainly, with the weather coming, put a sense of urgency in us for me to get right on this. So thank you.
Good. We appreciate you thinking about it. Thank you, Joshua, for your review on that. Other project updates? Any other updates, Alice?
Yes, two projects that I am, well, first, let's give a very excited update on the fact that we've closed on the Granada Theater property. So that has now been transferred over to Mr. Gomez and his wife, and very pleased about that. And I want to thank Jonathan for all his support in preparing for that and working with the title company, and Chair Grossman for signing all the documents. So thank you for making time on short notice. Appreciate that very much. And that's nice to have that behind us. So the second project that I am continuing to work on is the First Street project. And I will admit, I've had a lot of things to do. I've been telling the chair it feels like drinking out of a fire hose, and it has been that way for the past month. The 2 projects that I will spend more time on this next month, one is First Street, and then the other one is the Urban Renewal Financial Report that we had talked about last meeting. About that, I know for a number of months that the board has been very interested in figuring out its future, where you're headed, and sort of my thought would be to get you a report as soon as we can on where we are financially, so that can, once we know that, we have a status on where we are, you can start to make some decisions on where you want to go in the future based on what indebtedness is left. And my hope is to give you 2, 3, 4 options maybe that you could consider. You can do this, this, or this, and you can of course mix and match those, but I'd like to give you some clear options for you to, that'll prompt some good discussion with the group. So that is what I have for you. I will hope to have more of a report next month on that, as well as the First Street project.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alice. Any questions for Alice? If not, we'd be dealing with staff comments, but I think you just made them unless you have something else to add. So we'll move on to board member comments or questions. Any board member comments or questions? Nope. Okay, well, we're going to recess to executive session in accordance with ORS 1926602E to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real estate transactions. The media is invited to attend. However, the media is not to report on anything that happens during executive session. So with that, we'll bail on this meeting and join up on the next one.